All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome into the LA Sports Brotherhood. It's me, Ryan, here with my brother Matthew, and we're doing our position group previews, starting with quarterbacks. Everything starts with the quarterback, so are we. We're in a post Caleb Williams era. He was a pillar of the program for 2 years, and now we are kind of left to see what we got. So, actually, Matt, can you tell us what we have going on?
Yeah, so like you said, we've lost Caleb Williams, my favorite player, the Heisman winner, wearing his jersey right now, actually. And we also lost former five-star Malachi Nelson,
Yeah.
who we've added. We've added Jaden Mayava at a UNLV. A lot of promise there. And the projected starter is Miller Moss. So yeah, it's a post-Caleb Williams era, and I think Trojan fans are underestimating. I know we all love him and we appreciate what he's done. We're underestimating how much worse we're going to be at the position. I love Miller Moss, but he's no Caleb Williams. And I think that the past 2 years, we've had overall pretty bad teams with the best player in the world, and the best player in the world was able to take us to a Pac-12 championship game. I think there's just so many games I could point to. The Oregon State game from 2 years ago, UCLA, Notre Dame. A lot of these games, I think we lose with Miller Moss at quarterback, and I think that kind of sucks to come out and say that. I don't know if you guys are gonna hate that but I do like Miller Moss, and I do think he's a good player. But I don't think he is that guy to be the Heisman winner, to be the focal point of the offense, where he's just making crazy plays. So I've gotten all the negative thoughts out the way. I do think he's good. I think he was once a high recruit. Joel Klatt, I love Joel Klatt. I like listening to him a lot. He likes to say, the quarterbacks you gotta see if they can be read the defense, be on time, and be accurate. I think Miller Moss can do those three things. My concern is not necessarily with him, but with the offense around us. I think this is actually a good thing to switch from these styles of quarterbacks. Where last year we just relied so heavily on Caleb Williams, and we wanted to throw the ball all the time. First down, like every down, it felt like we were throwing the ball when we should have been running the ball. I think this could be an identity shift to a team that's going to run the ball, and then Moss will throw it. Nothing crazy to the playmakers on the outside, Branch and Deuce. We'll get into them in the next few videos. But my concern is to have that identity shift where the focal point isn't with Miller Moss, it's with the run game, and then we throw off of that. You need the O line, and you'll hear about this in the O line video. I am so concerned for the O line and how Miller Moss is going to play with that O line, because Caleb Williams was scrambling for his life so much, and I've never seen a player deal with that as good as Caleb Williams. So much so that in the draft process, everyone's saying like, "Oh, he can't throw in the pocket." No, he's tremendous in the pocket, but he was always flushed out of it because the O line was so bad last year,
Yeah.
and we really haven't improved. And Miller Moss, under those same circumstances, I mean, right now he's going to be the starter against LSU. With this O line currently, he's going to be scrambling for his life, and I don't think that is good for this type of player he is. So I think really my gripe is more with the offense surrounding him than him himself, because like I said, I think he can be very successful in a certain kind of offense, but we don't have the talent around him to let him just have a Bo Nix type of role where he just has to be accurate, he has to be experienced, he has to read the defense. I don't know. I think he can still be good if he has the right pieces around him. I know I went on a long rant. It's something I feel,
No, yeah,
you
this
know,
is your thing.
a lot about, very strongly about. But yeah, I'll let you get into it.
Yeah. So I'm obviously but I'm not a big Miller Moss fan. I don't dislike him at all. It'd be ridiculous to dislike him. I just always heard SC fans talk so highly about him as a player, not as a person. That all that doesn't matter to me. But like just the idea of him coming in and switching the style up and being like, "Hey, maybe this is what we needed," and I don't think that's bad or even wrong, to be honest. I just think, like you were saying, the Holiday Bowl is was the worst thing to happen to Miller Moss haters. I am not, but just generally because it doesn't. That game was almost fake to me. It's a bowl game like of two teams that weren't playing for anything. I am glad that he showed because I do think he's going to be the starter. So there's something to build off of. But the shift in the identity, like you're talking about, it's very drastic. He didn't make a throw like off schedule that was over like 25 yards. And I don't know how prolific this offense is going to be. And I do think it needs to be prolific. It needs to be high scoring because the defense, despite the improvements, is not going to be a shutdown defense. We're going to need to score to win games. We can't be Iowa out here. Like, against more physical defenses where it's going to be probably a little tougher to run the ball, especially as you mentioned, we both share the offensive line concerns. We'll get to that. And our receivers, we have different opinions on the receivers, but they need to be physical because the cornerbacks are going to be more physical and they're going to play more like Iowa exclusively plays zone, but it's going to be more physical. They're going to have to be able to break presses. They're going to have to be doing a lot more stuff. And if you're running on a 1-2 throw, 1-2-3 throw, like on that type of schedule, because that's what he was. He was a timing player. He made very accurate, very good timing throws on like the fake zone read, like pass run option shit that they run. The fake pass run option because he doesn't really run. Like that's all scheduled. That's all timed. The receivers know when to look, and it's really well drawn up. But you don't really have the chance to throw downfield with that. And so if they know that you're not going deep all the time, or hardly ever, not because Miller Moss has the arm to do that, but the offensive line isn't really great. And I don't think Lincoln Riley trusts. Not I don't think. I know Lincoln Riley does not trust Moss, even like in the same stratosphere, the same amount as Caleb does, because that's why every single throw that Moss made was like 2 seconds in the pocket and it's out because that's I mean yeah like you said it's the Bo Nix except Bo Nix also threw deep, so it's like if Bo Nix last year ran a little less and didn't throw the ball 50 yards downfield like every six throws, and I don't know what to make of it honestly. And I know that's probably not people's favorite thing to hear, but I mean Lincoln Riley brought in a starting quarterback from a team that was in the Mountain West Championship. Like Jaden Mayava is only a year younger than Miller Moss, and he is kind of the opposite in some ways. Miller Moss has talent and he's athletic. I don't. He's not some statue in the pocket, but Mayava is like the explosive arm, make crazy plays. But because of that, it's also crazy amounts of turnovers. So it's just so like I believe in Miller Moss to be a good quarterback. I want to make that clear. I don't know if having a simply good cornerback with the rest of the offense and the not yet great defense is going to give USC fans the record that they're expecting. Like our whole household's USC fans. Matthew's very high on them. Our dad's really high on them. I'm not low on them, but like I kind of I guess we can discuss this a little bit. But generally, the idea is like they could win. It's not inconceivable for them for a lot of SC fans honestly with this trajectory that they're like competing for the Big Ten championship next year, and I don't think that's impossible. But I don't ironically enough I don't see the offensive ceiling being at that height with this current team, and it might not even be Miller Moss's fault because I think he's good enough of probably providing that. It's just with all the other factors, I feel like you need someone that's better than good enough at this point. The good thing is that everyone on the team is young. The receivers are really young, running backs are really young. The linemen that you're hopeful for at least are young. Like Elijah Page probably going to start at left tackle. It's his second year. So there is absolutely potential. It's just if we're talking this year projections, I'm unsure. But I think this is year one of two from us. So I went on for a long time and talked about a lot of stuff, but yeah, that's where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of you said, a lot of with a lot of what you said, or pretty much all of what you said. I think we both made the Bo Nix comparison. I think something to keep in mind for SC fans, Bo Nix had an incredible year last year, and I despise Oregon. You'll learn that soon. I cannot stand them. But they had an amazing O line. They had NFL receiver, a, a, an incredible running back. Buck, I'm so high on Bucky Irving. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
We don't have that offense. The way they surrounded Bo Nix, we're not surrounding Miller Moss with that. And I think you said it perfectly. Like Miller Moss, everything was scheduled. We line up against LSU right now. Things are not going to be scheduled. I'll tell you that. Harold Perkins is going to have multiple sacks. Our we'll get into the receivers and the O-line late, of course, in the next videos. It's just like it's not an experienced group around him, and this is his first year as a starter with a tough schedule. I think that is the hardest thing to process, and it's really frustrating seeing fans like just kind of brush over it. Well, yeah, Lincoln Riley, we're gonna score a lot. Let's look at the defense. I don't think it's that simple, and I know you don't either. We lost the best quarterback in the school's history, and we're kind of brushing it over. And I don't know why. I know we love Miller Moss. I know what we saw from the Holiday Bowl was great, but it's not a quick brush over to me. But I hope we don't come off too negative. This is just kind of how we feel. But I'm definitely higher on the offense. I think the receivers are just so explosive, and I think, like, funny enough, Miller Moss's potential relies on his receivers and
Yeah,
his O
it
line
does.
too,
100%.
because I can see a season where the young, kind of undersized receivers are just getting bullied, and there's no one open, and the O line gets pushed back, the tackles are bad, and Miller Moss is just under so much pressure, and he's unable to deal it. He's unable to deal with it like Superman, like Williams. But I can also see what I would hope to see is that the O line can protect. The incredibly talented receivers are able to get open. If that happens, I truly believe Miller Moss will hit them in stride. He will be accurate. He will read the defense. He will be on time. But if it goes to shit, and he's not going to be a breakdown style quarterback like Caleb was. I think that's the biggest thing. Collectively, as an offense, he can't be Superman. We need to be able to run the ball. We need the receivers to get open, because last year we both had to grab the receivers. They could not get open. I love Taj Washington. I absolutely love him. He was our best receiver as a slot receiver. No one can really get open. So I think his upside depends a lot on just the Trojan offense in general. And I'm really interested to see how Lincoln Riley, he's definitely not going to trust him as much as Caleb. So I'm really interested to see the spring game and the season, just how he coaches that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Miller Moss. Jada Maava, I mean, Ryan kind of summed it up perfectly. Incredible arm, incredible talent. He can move, but a lot of turnovers. So I think he is competing for the starting job. I think it'll end up being Moss.
Yeah.
You're looking at a Mayava, Juju. We'll get into this a little bit later, soon actually. Mayava, a Juju battle. Hopefully Mayava wins, because I don't like a senior in high school starting as a freshman. We saw what happened with Daniels.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mayava, we're looking to see next year a full year of development behind Moss. Hopefully, he's able to read the field better and limit the turnovers, because I am really high on him. He has a high potential. And I just think, yeah, he just needs to soak in everything. He's under the guy who's produced three Heisman winners, and in a couple weeks it'll be three first overall picks. So yeah, really high on Mayava. Still high on Moss. I know you're high on Moss too. It's more so just what's around him. Like, we're kind of talking about the offense in general.
Yeah.
I don't see that high scoring 49 a game offense. I really don't. But the spring portal is going to open. Let's see if we can get some talent in. But yeah, we're going to be at the end of each video. We're going to be kind of projecting each position group with the coaches, the recruits, the young talent. So for the quarterbacks, one of the main things we talked about, all USC fans, when Lincoln Riley came over, He's going to have an elite quarterback. He's going to have an elite quarterback. So yeah, of course, I'm feeling great. We just lost the best quarterback of in USC history. Currently, we have Miller Moss, and then we have a young guy, sophomore from Iowa, who's looking for next year. And then we have the number one quarterback in the country as a recruit. We all Trojan fans are just praying that he sticks. I feel good. It's shaping up to be Moss this year. Really, I think you mentioned it. I think Moss might actually come back for the next year, but
Yeah,
let's assume all goes well. He goes to the draft. It's looking like Mayava and Juju, and then once as we're always gonna have a good quarterback. We're always Lincoln Riley's always gonna be recruiting. So yeah, not a lot of stress for me. How do you feel about the quarterback position going forward?
yeah. I mean, we missed on quarterbacks last year, last recruiting class, I should say. Um, because they put all their eggs in the Rayola basket, and he committed to 10 different schools. Um, but yeah, I have no worries. They're gonna bring in a transfer or they're gonna recruit. There's literally zero worry about the quarterback position in the future. I will say, if you don't mind, I'll give my closing thoughts because I said a lot and I had a lot of takes, I suppose. I want to focus on something you said. You said Miller Moss cannot be Superman. 100% true. I need, well, not I need. Everyone knows that he can't. And honestly, I don't think anyone wants a Superman at quarterback. You can't recreate what Caleb does. That's why he's going to be the number one pick, and that's why he's going to be incredible in the NFL. I fully believe that. But because of that, it's requiring Lincoln Riley to have a full identity shift in his time in USC. He, like you mentioned earlier, his refusal to run the ball at points really hurt the team, even with Caleb there. And now, if he runs a similarly weighted offense and he's trying to throw the ball a bunch and all that stuff, and it's Miller Moss, and it's truthfully, well, we'll get into the receivers. It's not my favorite receiving core they've had since Lincoln Riley's been here, at least not now. And I don't know, it's the worst time for a Miller Moss type quarterback to be here. But Lincoln Riley is genuinely an offensive genius. I think if he's commits to changing the style of play, they could be very good. The way I look at it is if you picked up this current Miller Moss and dropped him on Lincoln Riley's first team instead of Caleb, they wouldn't be championship contenders, but they would be very good because that was the best offense they had. They had incredible vets at running back. Travis Dye, incredibly underlooked, in my opinion. They had the best offensive line at that point. They had the best receiving core, in my opinion. They were just good. They were really good, and that's why they played so well. And then last year, they averaged 45 points a game because Caleb just dragged them there. And Marshawn Lloyd's probably the best running back they've had, and he had a couple explosive plays or whatever. But yeah, last year was all Caleb in every sense of the word. And now we're going from there. We've lost receivers, we've lost linemen, and we've lost our best running back. Our best running back and our most consistent running back. So, and we're saying, here, Miller, go ahead and play in the Big Ten. That's where my issues are coming from. It's not really about Miller. It's about all of the circumstances. So yeah, I genuinely do believe in him. He is really accurate. Some of the throws that he was making in the Holiday Bowl were like, okay, this is legit big time arm. You're placing it perfectly in between defenders. Like he has the talent. It's just a snowball of things that, in my opinion, are not favorable to any quarterback that would be in his position. But now he's following Caleb up, and everything I just said. So yeah, that probably wraps up on it. Matt, is there any closing statements you want to make?
No, I think that summed it up perfectly. It's not really with Miller Moss. It's more about the offense
Yeah,
around him. What he did against Louisville, against not a great defense that had not a lot of people playing, that is perfect. And if he gets that effort from the receiving core, the protection from the online he got, he'll be great. But it's going to be not against Louisville. It's going to be against the Big Ten. Can the surrounding offense be good enough to let him do what he does?
yeah, yeah. That's the main question, and we'll see. We'll definitely know some more after the spring game, and we'll revisit all of these previews coming up, especially the ones coming out in the next couple days too. Yeah, so make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and fight on.